Hey, I'm back, and today we're digging into Beyond the Map's Edge. So because I'm doing two different hunts, it's important that I start the video, so in case you stumble across it by accident, you'll know which one I'm talking about and you won't get confused or waste your time if you're not into this hunt. So I'll put it in the Beyond the Map's Edge playlist, so hopefully that gets you there. But if you're just clicking like my newest video, whatever comes out, we're covering Justin Posey's Beyond the Map's Edge, all right? So introduction out of the way, and we're going to go over just the first story, not chapter, first story. A few questions I think I'll go ahead and answer. Someone asked me how many stories there are, because they're not chapters, and the table of contents doesn't have them listed as like 1, 2, 3, 4. So I count, there's 52 sections, all right, 52 sections with 48 titled stories. That leaves another 4, dedication, prologue, introduction, acknowledgments, right? So you add those 4, dedication, prologue, introduction, acknowledgments, and those all have Roman numbered, or those, all the pages are marked with Roman numerals. So you add those 4 to the 48 stories, titled stories, and that gives you 52, all right? Now what's also interesting is there's the last section that the font and typeface title is almost the same as all the others. It's called the Legal Lowdown. That is not listed in the contents. All right, so does it mean something? I don't know. Just letting you guys know. Most of you guys will have this book in a couple days, so you'll be able to go through. But in case you want to start getting your brain thinking, something to look forward to right away, because I'm designing puzzles, and some of the stuff I looked at to hide ciphers and whatnot, I looked at dominoes, I looked at fridge magnets, I looked at playing cards, because it's just easy to, 26 letters in the alphabet, you use 2 suits, and that's 26, nice and even. So, I don't know, there's 52 titled stories here, 52 titles, if you include the dedication prologue. 52 cards in a deck. I don't know, that's just, when I think of 52, I immediately think of cards. It's an easy switch over for me. All right, the other thing is, before I read each chapter in JCB's book, I would like to go back to the how to read section, or how to do this hunt and then read. So for this book, there's no how-to section. There's a dedication, which is pretty clear. It's who it's dedicated to. There's a prologue, which just kind of describes a scene during his hunt for Fenn's treasure. There's an introduction. The introduction, I think, would be the closest to a how-to section. And then there's the acknowledgments. The acknowledgments just shout out like important people that he wanted to acknowledge, right? That's obvious. So of those 4, the introduction to me is the closest to the how-to. So that's the one I reread, and I plan to try to reread before I do each story. And when I read that, something that pops out to me is he says, this is on page 11, the same page that he talks about, there's a clue in Golden Greed on Netflix. So one of the last paragraphs, you might find clues to my treasure scattered through these pages, right? You might find clues to my treasure scattered through these pages. You might just find a story about a kid who never quite grew out of his treasure hunting dreams. I'm reading directly from the book. Either way, what you won't get is some ghost-written memoir where every failure leads to a perfect lesson. What you will get is an obsession laid bare, complete with bare encounters, right? So a little play on words there. Algorithm failures, and one very patient dog. And then the next sentence is, and Netflix Golden Greed, The Hunt for Fenn's Treasure series. Sorry, I messed that up. And the Golden Greed it starts italics, right? So, and Netflix Golden Greed, The Hunt for Fenn's Treasure series. I left some hints there too. It's waiting just beyond your comfort zone, beyond your map's edge. All right, so that's kind of the kind of how-to for me. There's really nothing else. The stuff that we looked for in JCB's book about murals, colors, illustrations, history, stories, right? All the kind of winks and nudges there, which to me, reading this and reading that, again, I don't have a large sampling to go off of. My sampling is 2, 3 if you count Project Skydrop. But because of the absence of language like that, it kind of makes me focus, nudges me to believe that I'm on the right track with the whole picking up for themes, and there's no talk of any of that so far. In the introduction, in the prologue, and the acknowledgments, there's nothing like that. All right. So to me, how I'm approaching it is reading this just like a book, which I will say it's very easy to. It's very easy to read. Not a lot of like confusing language. Missing a little bit of the alliterations. They don't jump out as much as they did in JCB's, which again, it makes me think that there's something there. Unless JCB is just the guy who likes alliterations. I like alliterations. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video, which is going to be the first story called Mom's House. All right, it's on page 1. All right, yes, it's page 1. Mom's House. So again, I'm not going to read. I'm not going to read it all word for word. One of the few things, I'll point out some stuff, and then when you get your book, you can flip back and look on it. Yeah, okay. So one of the first things he points out on page 1 is there's a little bit of, I just said there's no wordplay, and wordplay I just said there's no alliteration, and alliteration just jumps out at me now. Maybe it was my fault. I was probably really tired when I was reading it last night, so I might have missed it. So here we go. Talks about his house where he grew up, being watched over by the stoic sentinels of Saguaro National Park East. All right, stoic sentinels of Saguaro National Park East. So a lot of S's there, stoic sentinels of Saguaro. I like that. When I hear East, it makes me think of later in the poem, right, the line about the Ursa in the East. Let me just flip back to the back. I do plan on speaking about the poem the last like 5 or 10 minutes of this video. Yeah, in Ursa East, his realm awaits. All right, so that's just a little something to keep in mind. And then he says, well, back then it was Saguaro National Monument. What's the difference anyways? Whenever a author of a treasure hunt, whenever an author asks a question, it's kind of a tool for emphasis or to get the reader to pay attention. Whenever an author of a treasure hunt asks a question, I think as treasure hunters, you should pay more attention to that. So first question asked by him in the book. Well, I can't say that for a fact because I didn't double check through the acknowledgments and introduction and dedication to see if he asked a question. I don't think he did. So tentatively, we can call this the first question asked by JP. What's the difference anyways? He's asking you, what's the difference between Saguaro National Park East and Saguaro National Monument? We got a few numbers on this first page. Talks about when he was 4. Talks about ground zero. Talks about 3 boys. So, again, I've never been a huge numbers guy, but if you are a numbers guy, you're going to like this book because there's a lot of numbers. Going on, he describes he's not shying away from stuff, right? He talks about the divorce. So far, it doesn't go into like any messy details. Just describes, the parents ended up divorcing. You can see a lot of admiration for the mother comes across, and which is pretty cool. She's a barrel racer, decorated, collected championship buckles. Nothing really jumps out at me on the first couple pages, other than certain things are italicized. And again, because we can't help it, right? As treasure hunters, your past experiences with treasure hunts are gonna mold and shape how you operate and how you work your future hunts. And so, anytime I see something in italics, I'm looking at it. So there's definitely some italics. Not the first picture in the book, because there's other pictures before it, but the first picture of this chapter, I don't know if there's another word, story. We'll say story. I don't want to say chapter if he's not using the word chapter. As much as I can, I want to use the lingo that the author uses, right? So if he's not saying chapter, I don't want to say chapter and put that in my head. So the first story, one of the first pictures there is a picture of his mother and some animals, and then the next one is his mother fishing, right? Pole, was that a hint to pole? I guess we'll have to see how many times there's a picture of fishing, but casting your pole, it's later in the poem. So it's a picture of her fishing the river she loves the most. That's right from the book, the Beaverhead, and so that's why I'm wearing my Buc-ee's shirt and not a frog or a green colored shirt. All right, I love Buc-ee's, and the mom loves the Beaverhead, so she's fishing on the river. So then it goes on describing some childhood stories. He's a mischievous kid. Talks about him and his brother playing some games. and then it goes into the next one called Dad's House. And I'm not going to go into that. Just want to do one at a time. But again, so nothing really jumping out at me other than, a little bit of alliteration there in the beginning with the S's. Because the poem is fresh, anything that I think can relate to the poem, I'm trying to call out. So from this first chapter, we're calling out some of the wordplay. We're calling out the word east in Saguaro National Park East. And again, I've always been a fan. I've only been doing this for a couple months, but I am a fan of not including named places in a book as part of a solve, right? So that's why we're not looking in Ohio. That's why we're not looking in other places. But Froggy, why do we look in California? All right, let's lock in, focus on this one. Yeah, I think I covered what I wanted to cover for this first chapter. I mean, there's not a lot of pages. I think most of them look about to be the same length. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pages. There's 1, 2, 3 photos and 1 illustration. But yeah, this first one's pretty cool. I think you're gonna be hooked as soon as you start it. I like the way it reads. I think you're gonna like it too. Again, not very complicated. I think you might have to work a little bit harder in picking up what he's trying to say, because sometimes with JCBs bouncing back and forth between a personal story and a historical story, and then a segue, right? He has to include all of those in the chapters, so he's kind of forced to transition. The transitions here can be a lot more natural because he can tell a story, end it, and start the next story. Justin doesn't have to force a segue into the next story. He can just tell a story and then go to the next one, go to the next one. So it makes for cleaner writing, in my opinion. And the stories I've read, I think now I'm up to the first 7 stories, so I didn't stay up crazy late to read it all because you guys were distracting me with Speakeasy. But let's go ahead and get into the poem, all right? Which, I don't know. I always feel, I know I'm not going to get on the first try. I know I'm not going to get on the first 10 tries, but you just can't help but, you're telling yourself, hey, you got the book before everybody else that I know of. Some people may have got it before me. They just didn't say anything, right? But, you got the book, you're reading it. Your mind is untainted by anybody else's theories. It's just your theories alone. You're reading it. Oh, you're making connections. You're definitely onto something. I don't know. It's just a voice in my head. But let's go ahead and go through because this is what I found. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll spark something in you. And I don't feel bad about talking about this because everybody has the poem. I read it out loud. I posted it in Discord. If for some reason you're watching this YouTube and you don't have the poem because you're not in Discord or you can't find it, reach out to me in the comments and I'll try to post it. Or I guess I can post it in the, because Justin said it was okay. I might throw it up in the comments. Okay, here we go. So reading through, and the note I put to myself is rule out the first level interpretations, meaning try to ignore if it's, if like it says Ursa East, right? Don't just Google East Bear. Anyways, let's get into it. So can you find what lives in time? So me, I'm saying, okay, so we're looking for something in a clock, we're looking for something in a clock face. Flowing through each measured rhyme, all right, measured, how do you measure a rhyme? Beats, syllables, wisdom waits in shadowed sight. So we're looking through a filter to see them, to find the clues. Wisdom is the clues, wisdom is knowledge. For those who read these words just right. Read what words? The words in the poem, this line, this stanza. I mean, do you have to read that sentence for those who read these words just right? Or do you read the first stanza? Are you reading the poem? Or do you have to look through a filter at the whole book? And by filter, I mean, are we looking through glasses, people who want to do blue light, black light? Or are we scanning the whole book and running a filter to find certain words? Which would bring back the disclaimer or warning? What's the word that he put earlier on about not feeding the text into an AI machine? As hope surges clear and bright, all right, so that's just, is that a contrast to the shadow? Clear is a contrast to the shadow, so it's bright. So 2 things are contrasting. Walk near water's silent flight. Walk as feet. Is waters the name, right? So because whole's capitalized, we think that's a proper noun. It doesn't mean that he couldn't that he didn't not capitalize other proper nouns. And I only think of that because I grew up with, I went to school with a person whose last name was Waters, which I thought was pretty cool. Walk near waters, silent flight. Round the bend, aren't all bends round? Silent flight, I have can't be man or machine powered flight because it's silent. So we're looking for nature. I think owls fly silent, don't they? So around the bend is bend a name, like horseshoe bend. Hole is capitalized, so that's a proper noun, right? I wait for you to cast your pole. Think of fishing. Fishing. What else could be a pole? Pole position in a race. Batons. In Ursa East, his realm awaits. Who's he? Who are we waiting on? Oh, cast your pole. I thought of because we're the West. Totem poles. Right? Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be a Native American slant to this. In Ursa East, his realm awaits. Whose realm? Realm kingdom. We looking for what's he waiting for? What's the realm waiting for? His bride stands guard at ancient gates. Gates again, a physical gate, metaphorical gate. His bride, why is his bride not with him? His bride is guarding. Normally males are. Do you think of guards? What kind of female guard? Is this a celestial theme? If we're looking at Ursa in the sky, what pairs of lovers or partners are in the sky? And then how would that help us find a boots on the ground location? Is it a conservatory that we're looking for? Okay, gates of the kingdom. Her foot of 3. Foot is 12 inches. 3 feet are a yard. So her foot of 3, her yard at 20 degree. Yard is just like a nautical thing we're looking for. 20 degrees temperature. Again, that's fresh from the Lou B speaking on Netflix, right? So if you watch that, it's in my head now. Lou B, I can't get it out. Return her face to find the place. Is this something we're doing on the hunt? Are we actually supposed to find something and take it to another place, which would kind of eliminate it? Only the first person would get a chance to do that. So I really don't think that's what it means, find something. But how can you return her face to find the place? Because it doesn't say you're supposed to return her face to find the place. So it doesn't say return to her face. And then unless that's the clue, you're supposed to move to over there. So the sentence makes sense. Return to her face, which would introduce the concept of moving words around, shuffling them. Okay, and also, okay, so now we go into the double arcs, which I can't get McDonald's out of my head, even though that's an arch, not an arc, right? So this is double arcs on granite bold. You know, why did he say granite bold? Is that just to rhyme with hold? So is the important thing hold, and then you had to put bold to rhyme because you wanted to rhyme? Because there's like 1 or 2 places where it doesn't rhyme, so you would need everything else to rhyme to make what doesn't rhyme stand out. Beyond the reach of time's swift race. What is outside of time? History is like verbal history. Is it a portrait or painting? Some kind of media? All those I think would still be able to be affected by time, right? Unless it's a still photo. Normally, how do you capture time? You take a photo of it. So we're looking for a photo. Anyways, beyond the reach of time's swift race, wonder guards this sacred space. Just because I read it so close together. Space race, also sacred space is another alliteration that I like. Guards, now that we mentioned guards, who stands guard? His bride stands guard. But is his bride wonder? Now we wonder who his bride is. Truth rests not in clever minds. All right, so don't overthink things. Truth rests. Tucker's down there. He's resting in the image. Not in tangled, twisted finds. Tangled, convoluted, tangled. The movie Tangled. Tangled hair gets tangled. Twisting, I think of a river. Like a river is next line. Steady flow. Rivers flow north, or not north to south. They flow from higher elevation to lower elevation. So like a river, steady flow. So like a river flows, that's the way you would move. What you seek, you already know. What are we seeking? Is it the treasure? We would already know if it's a treasure, or do we have to go back, circle, right? Time on a clock is circular, but time is not circular. Do we circle back to the front when it says, can you find what lives in time? And now we have to seek that we already know. So that was how I think about things when I'm in the very beginning. So it's very much stream of consciousness. I'm just, again, that's a compilation of all throughout the day. I would read the poem and write something, read the poem and write something, read the poem and write something. And then before this video, I sat down together, reread chapter 1, reread the poem again, and then kind of mushed it all together. I debated the best way to kind of explore that out. I'm not at the point yet where I want to start posting like I'm very open about posting my maps, my solves, my clues. If you're in Discord, I post it all. If you're not in Discord, you really should be, because it's not just me, it's people that are a lot more specialized in a lot more fields than I am, people with way more experience in treasure hunting, winners of actual treasures, like winners of, like, you know, 5 and 6 figure treasure hunts are in this Discord sharing stuff. So again, this is a plug. If you're not in the Mysterious Writings Discord, if you're not in the Calazar's Discord, you really should be. And I guess I'll try to put links to those. But normally I'm pretty good about sharing, and other people are too. So this is a very raw format. I don't know. I want to, in business, right, you got to capitalize on the early exposure. So I want to capitalize, want to get it out there. But also for those of you who are like me, when I was waiting on my John Collins Black book, when I was waiting on that, There's Treasure Inside, I was like every day just on Discord, just combing for anything I could find until I could get my hands on it myself. So this is kind of a way to kind of give back to the community, thanking all those early YouTube posters who got their book before I did and shared stuff. So here's a little bit of just me sharing it out there. First thoughts, before I got on this video, I was like, all right, I want to, if asked, like, you know, gun to your head or $1 million shot, try to guess a state. I honestly couldn't, man. And I really tried. And I don't just want to say a state to say a state, all right? If I want to say something, it's because I really believed it, and I'm not there yet. I mean, there's a lot of states to choose from. I think there's a wider range than anything in John Collins' Black book, because at least for that, you kind of have some parameters, where here's the parameter for this one is just the West. And yeah, and nothing in that has really ruled it out for me. Yeah. So, all right, that's the, I think that's coming to the end. And because I did put a picture when I shared the poem, I shared a picture of Tucker in the chest at the bottom. I think all illustrations should be studied closely. I'm not saying 100% it is a clue. I think they should be. And so this one, you know, you've got Tucker, the box is open. You can see some things in it. There's a few items out front, which I think are very intentional, right? There's the, looks like the dragon, was it dragon, I'm blanking on the word, bracelet. Looks like a space rock, some colored gems, some gold coins, right? So that's out the front. Yeah, trying to think if there's any more questions people had asked that they wanted me to answer. Something about the map. I feel like somebody asked me something about the map. It'll come back to me. I'll try to do another video. I'll try to do another one tomorrow. My schedule's pretty open. So I think I'll do another video tomorrow on the second story. I don't know if I'll do another JCB one. I kind of already shared earlier today where I got to with the Fen box. I really want to shift my focus to the past and future box just because I haven't touched on it in a while. And then we'll circle back to the AT. Because I got this book early, this kind of put a hamper in my my AT Boots on the Ground Part 2. But there's some good people out there in Pennsylvania, and I'd be just as happy if they won. So hopefully they'll find it. If not, I still like that area. Everything that they're saying still makes me feel good about the location. So probably not this week, maybe next week. Look for a Boots on the Ground back to Pennsylvania area for JCB's book. That's it. All right, guys. Later. Bye.
Now listen, all you treasure hunters, searching all around for plunder. Do you need some help to be your best? There's something that you're trying to find, but you're about to lose your mind. So come on, listen in to Estes Quest. Estes Quest, the show where he'll be sharing clues. Estes Quest will chase away your searcher's blues. He's solving puzzles close and you'll be told the clues to where he's hiding gold. So come on, listen in to Este's quest. Come on, listen in